Alright, Batman versus Superman Dawn of Justice. We've all seen it by now, and I know it's a good movie. People look at it like, this movie doesn't suck. The movie does not suck. It's a good movie. But when you put Batman and Superman in a movie, it's not supposed to be a good movie. It's supposed to be epic. This is Doomsday. This was supposed to be epic. And it wasn't. And people have told you why. And we're not going to go through that on this video. I'm going to fix it. I am going to fix Batman versus Superman right now. And you tell me which version is better or best. Or you would prefer the movie that's at the theater right now. Because all it needs to be is tweaked. When the credits first start, I would have made it nice and short. I'd have showed Bruce Wayne with his family. They coming down the alley. Burglar comes out. The pearl necklace breaks. All the slow-mo thing, the gunshots, the Martha. That's fine. And then they would show Bruce Wayne waking up from thinking about it, having a nightmare. He's in his lake house. He's got a champagne bottle. He pops some pills. He takes the champagne, takes a swig. Alfred's talking to him, and he's saying, this is the anniversary. It's the 1-year anniversary of what happened last year when they watching TV and they show the memorial for all the people that died when General Zod and Superman go at it. And then they're talking about it, and then they start showing the scene where Bruce Wayne went in there to save what's his name and the guy from the tower, the people, all that scene that you see, that's fine. Building collapse. He doesn't like Superman. So they're talking about the statue that they made for him and all of these things that they're doing. Now they're talking about naming a day after Superman. And Bruce Wayne just thinking people are going too far. You know, with all of this God stuff. And he's like, well, this guy is a guy. He came out of the sky. He flies around. We've never seen a guy like this. Alfred's trying to tell him about him. He's Alfred. You know, like, this is too much. And that same thing, that whole little thing, interaction with Alfred is fine. They cut away. Then they go overseas, where you see Lois over there in the desert. That's perfect. Superman shows up. We all know what happens. He puts the guy through the wall. He saves Lois Lane. Now, there was a lot of death, a lot of explosion there. Lex Luthor set it up. Lex Luthor, who's played by Bryan Cranston, by the way, he would not be played by the guy that played him in the movie. Now, Bryan Cranston has set it up so they can go there. There's a lot of explosions, not gunfire, explosions, fire. Soon as Superman arrives, all these timed explosions are going off. Fires, which causes the government to come in and attack villages and everything else. So back here in the United States, instead of having Holly Hunter there, I'll have Donald Trump. Donald Trump's there, and Donald Trump is going to use this as his ticket to get the people to vote for him when he runs for office. So he's attacking Superman and saying Superman needs to be brought in. This guy's not even a United States citizen yet. We haven't even got him citizenship, and if he is a citizen already, he needs to show some paperwork. And if he do, we need to definitely have him follow the rules and laws of the United States citizen. He can't do everything he wants to do. He has to answer to the government. So they want him to come in for questioning and talk to the panel. But he feels he doesn't have to. But what also happened was the government told him and Lois that she could not be with Superman and make out or kiss. We don't know how his biological structure is, and the fact that you're a human and he's not, it could lead to something unnatural. So you're not putting your life in danger. Everyone else's lives is in danger too. So for the time being, they had banned Superman and her from having a relationship. So instead of upsetting people, they decided as Clark Kent, he could date her. So they date in the office, and that's fine. Now, Lex Luthor gets back, makes the proposal with the kryptonite. They find a big kryptonite in the ocean. That seems fine. Now he's making the proposal that he's going to back Donald Trump if Donald Trump helps him bring this big rock of kryptonite in there so they can make weapons just in case something happens. Perfectly fine. Donald Trump's into it. Next thing you know, Lois Lane has a story that's going on about what's happening in Gotham and why people are not covering things in Gotham. And she's supposed to go over there, and Superman's telling her, well, Clark Kent, well, isn't Gotham a little dangerous? She's like, no, that's okay. It's protected by the Batman. He's like, yeah, I heard there's some vigilante running around catching criminals, but he's so violent in the way he goes out and captures them. So, anyway, she goes over there to do an interview with Bruce Wayne and ask him what he felt about Batman, the Superman and everything else. And he gave his opinion about, here's a guy that could burn this whole planet up whenever he felt like it. And we are helpless. We're at his mercy. I don't think the guy really is a god. He's just an alien who at any given time could have the power to end everything. So when he exits and leaves, she goes back to her hotel or whatever, and there's an attack or building or explosion that happens, and a building falls down on her while she was out in Gotham, or some type of concrete, which injures her leg and puts her in the hospital. So Clark visits her, and he's blaming the Batman for what happened. He's like, the Batman showed up at the scene, it was an explosion, Batman showed up, so Clark Kent's assuming that Gotham is dangerous, and the Batman was somehow responsible for this, so he's angry because she's been hurt. So he's trying to find Batman. He doesn't know that it's Bruce Wayne. He's trying to find the Batman. He's angry because he can't find him, and he wants to find the Batman. But Batman's in his lake house, and he's not coming out unless there's crime. And he wants to meet and talk with the Batman finally. Now, at the same time, there's a problem that's going on with Donald Trump. Donald Trump is, ooh, that's a nice shot. Donald Trump wants Superman to be deported because Superman went to Mexico and saved the kid out of the fire. And he's like, that wasn't an American kid. That was a Mexican. He went to Mexico and started saving Mexicans. He just can't fly over to Mexico and do stuff like that. He's got to come in to question it. So Superman goes into the panel to go question with Donald Trump. Things blow up. He's like, what you doing in Mexico saving Mexicans? You need to be deported because now you're Mexican. Your hair is slicked back, you're Mexican. So, so a big explosion go off in the facility. Bruce Wayne is watching this. He sees this, and he blames Superman for this whole thing. And there's like, Superman wanted to stop Trump, and this is the way he did it. Lex Luthor set all this up so he can blow them up. He's working on, now you got all this taken care of. Lois is in the hospital. She's completely out of the movie. You got that going. Batman wants to kill Superman now. Superman wants to kill Batman. And they want to fight each other anyway because he thinks he injured Lois. Batman thinks he blew up the Capitol or has something to do with it, and they're going to work. He knows Lex has this Batman knows that Lex Luthor has this kryptonite, and that's what he wants to go get. So he goes out at night as the Batman and goes there and gets the kryptonite, and he comes back to the lair. He fixes it up. Superman and Batman have not met yet. They've not had a conversation. Nothing. They want to see each other. It's the anticipation that's going to make it epic. So Batman goes out and does his thing, gets the kryptonite, goes back to the lair, starts working with Alfred on the actual elements of it. And Alfred figure out that the metal that he's working on, that armor suit that he has, the kryptonite can make the suit stronger. It could power the suit just the way it powered the world engine. So it would make Batman stronger, and it's powered more, and it's easy to move. Plus it would weaken Superman. It should work against him long as he's in the armor. So now he uses the remaining parts of that to make this spear. And then Alfred says, well, I've done my part. I'm going to sit out of it. If you're really going to go through with this, and he really goes through with it, and then from that point on, you have your movie that plays out. Now, instead of these like gas pellets that he's breathing in that's killing himself, he actually got to fight Batman in this kryptonite suit. So whenever Batman hits him, it affects him. So now you got a more even fight all the way through. Superman, of course, is losing the fight, realizes that Martha and him are together, you know, like we both have the name Martha. He has to go fight what Bryan Cranston has created. There you have the movie kicking off. Doomsday is born. Doomsday is now born. And here we go. We did not need a scene where Batman has to go and rescue his mother Martha. We didn't need that. Just the fact that his mother's name was Martha and they had something similar was something they needed. We didn't need the extra Batman scene, even though it was great. For him to go in that warehouse and do all the work he did, we didn't need it. Didn't fit the story, really. Take them from there. They need to go down there to see what's going on with Lex Luthor and the Doomsday Project. They get there, Batman's in his Batwing, Superman's on the ground, and what he's seeing is, here comes Doomsday out of nowhere. You know, he comes up to attack. They get in trouble. The Batwing gets knocked out of the air. Batman tried to fight him from the sky. The spear is back in the place where Batman threw it. And now he realizes he needs to go back to get it. It's too late. He's shot down, and Wonder Woman shows up just out of the blue. No one knows who she is, where she comes from, anything about her. She just shows up. And now we having our action fight that kicks off. Fight is kicking off left and right. They're all fighting Doomsday. Then next thing you know, Flash comes in. Right at the end, they're all fighting. Here comes the Flash coming in. Every time they defeat Doomsday, he comes back stronger. Boom! Powers up again. And he powers up so much that he shoots a beam out into space. Now, the beam is out in space. They don't know where the beam and energy is going. But it gets picked up, eventually, by Steppenwolf, who realized that there's something powerful or some activity that's transpiring on Earth. But this will be at the end, of course. But just to let you know, that's where the power of him powering up and everything, they're seeing it. It's being monitored through space, where they see the energy level that's entirely strong on the force from the planet Earth, which is not known for it. It's more of a docile planet in the universe compared to the other thousands of worlds. Now, while this battle is happening, Flash helps out, Cyborg comes in, has a cameo, helps out, Aquaman helps out, and it took all of them to hold him down while Superman goes and grabs the spear because Batman's there in a kryptonite suit trying to fight, and all of a sudden he rams him with this spear. He gets spiked. You know, all of these guys are all taking the whole Justice League to bring him down, and he's dead. And then Superman's dead, and all the Justice League is standing there. Superman's dead, but Steppenwolf, who's got the boxes, is gonna alert Darkseid. And as they take Lex to jail, to sit in there for the crime of murdering and creating this monster, he's just sitting there smiling, knowing that he knows more is getting ready to come. Not because he contacted anybody too. I would have had that cut out. I would have had it where he could learn the history but not go and actually contact people from this ship from other places. I wouldn't have had that, because if that was the case, then Zod and them wouldn't have been stranded. They could have found somebody easy. They wouldn't have to go and find all these pieces. When they came out of the Phantom Zone, all they got to do was go on the ship and contact these other worlds. They could have found some relatives somewhere else and been out of there. So I wouldn't have had them use that to contact. I would have had them tracking that energy level from Doomsday. So that's where I would have had the movie go. Now, you tell me, what is I just tweaked the movie a little bit. Just a little bit. Now, y'all tell me, if I tweaked the movie that little bit much, wouldn't it have been a better movie? You have no Lois Lane in there running around with some crazy bullet. You don't have any crazy, all these confrontations and meetings with Batman and Superman that looks like promos we don't need. They don't know each other's identity. They don't care. It doesn't matter. You got one person want to destroy the other person, and the other person want to destroy the other person. Even though it was driven behind the scenes by someone else. This movie could have been done a lot less and a lot cheaper and a lot better. And we'd have been introduced to the Justice League a far better way than what we were introduced to in this film. Now, people also was confused about something that I wanted to tell people about. That dream sequence where you actually saw Doomsday, I mean not Doomsday, but Darkseid's handlers, those little birds that you saw flying around, they work for Darkseid. You saw Darkseid's logo, and it looked like an apocalyptic Mad Max type of situation that was going on. Everybody's like, what's going on here? Superman is he's working for Darkseid. You know, he's actually went rogue, and he's angry, and he's burning. Something happened to Lois Lane. She's dead. He blamed Batman. Everybody's like, what's going on here? He burned the two guys up. And then he seemed like he breaks Batman's chest and all this stuff, and Batman wakes up and you see the Flash come, "Wave, come and find us. Wait a minute, I'm early." What this is the multi-universe that they were trying to introduce in this film, and they did a terrible job of it. But what they were trying to show was the first place you saw where it was all deserted, that was the future. Okay, that was way in the future that actually happened. Flash at that point must have went back in time, back to Earth, but he missed where he was supposed to go, as the Flash always does when he runs fast enough, and didn't go back to where he thought he was going. He went back to the past so far before they formed the Justice League. He wanted to go when the Justice League was formed, or before it was formed, because it seemed like they weren't formed yet. And he wanted to go back there before something happened with Lois Lane, and she was the key. So he must wanted to go back to warn him, and that's why he said, "Come and find us." So he put it out there so that Bruce would actually go and find the rest of the Justice League so they can form and become the Justice League in case this situation happens. They would be prepared for it, because it seemed like Darkseid came, there was no Justice League, and it was a mess, and Superman went rogue because of what happened to Lois Lane. So to prevent and fix all that, Flash had to go back in time. And he actually went, and that's why he said, "Oh, I'm too early," meaning that the Justice League weren't formed yet, and nothing had happened yet at that time. So he was saying, you was right about him all along. Lois Lane is the key. So, that's what that meant. Hopefully y'all understand. Multi-universes are very weird, but they happen a lot in the comics. But if you watch the Flash television show, they do a great job of showing you like Earth 1, Earth 2, but there's plenty of different other multi-universes situations that happen. But Flash the TV show do a great job of it. But what actually happened in the movie is at the end, you remember when Bruce tells Wonder Woman at the funeral, like, she was like, "Why do you think they would, that we're gonna have to fight?" He's like, "Just a hunch." Because he remembers the vision with the papers blowing and all that stuff where Flash came and warned him and told him he needed to come find him. So that's why he said it's just a hunch. But they, friends, y'all need to come together. We need to find everybody. So that they need to form the Justice League. So that must happen to prevent that apocalyptic world that they just saw. So because he went back and did that, that means what happened with Darkseid and Batman all tied up and Superman burning him up, that has not happened yet. That alternate world is gonna be destroyed. So I hope that cleared up a lot of things for people. And tell me if you like my version of the Batman movie. I'm out.